Hello, everybody. Welcome to Times of 505. Welcome to the channel if you're new, or welcome back if you're a lovely subscriber. Today, me and Ryan will be continuing our series through Quentin Tarantino. Last video we discussed the Kill Bill Volume 1. This episode we're going to be talking about Volume 2. So, before we begin, I forgot to tell you this before the video started. Of course, I got to ask, how are you doing tonight?
I've been doing very well. I've been looking forward to this because I won't get too deep into it because we're gonna get into the nuts and bolts. But this was my first time watching this, like first time seeing Kill Bill the entire thing. I've seen clips, but I'd never seen the whole thing, and I was like, I was very excited to do this because uh, you all will see it, but I really enjoyed this one.
Awesome. Well, Scott himself said, I've seen Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction now. Great movies. Of course, if you want to see me and Ryan's thoughts on those two movies, watch those other two episodes we did.
Yeah, Jason, the old millennials on the Pulp Fiction one.
Yes. Now, having that out of the way, me personally, I've had a little bit of a rough day, just a tiny bit of a rough day. I had to euthanize one of my cats today. Little sad. I loved her so much. Rest in peace, Sally. You were the OG cat. You were the first cat we ever got. You were the OG. Shout out to Sally. I know everyone's like, who the hell is Sally? Well, I just told you. My first ever cat. Anyway, besides that, I am doing a lot better. Grieving. This is the part of my life where I'm like, it happens. Life sucks. Let's move on. It is what it is. Hi guys, hope you doing good. I'm doing better. And Ryan said he's doing good as well. Before we start reviewing the second one, you want to give your brief recap of what you thought about the first one?
First one was great. I really enjoyed it. I feel like, I don't know what the context of why Tarantino split it into two was done. I think there may have been something going on there. I need to look it up later. But I feel like if it were somehow superimposed, now I believe there's something called the whole bloody affair, like kicking around out there on physical media. Like, if it were to be like combined into one big thing, I think it'd be the best thing Tarantino's ever done. Because I loved Kill Bill Volume 1, and somehow, some way, Kill Bill Volume 2 managed to top it because everything that was set up in Part 1 was brought roaring home in Part 2. Everything that was like set up was paid off in just the most brilliant way possible.
Oh yeah, definitely. Most definitely. I thought the first one was good. I'm gonna be honest. It's one of my least favorite Tarantino movies. The first one. Not gonna lie, for the longest time, I've watched this movie like 3 times. Watched it a fourth time for this review. For the longest time, this was my absolute least favorite Tarantino movie. Yeah, it was. But rewatching it more, it's just one of those things where maybe watching the movie more helps. I know that's usually more for music, but sometimes for me, watching a movie more than once could help. For me, it took me 4 watches to fully appreciate it. And to me, this is a great movie. Still not one of my favorite Tarantino movies personally, because there's just so much competition out there. It's kind of hard to compete in the Tarantino universe, but let's just say I'm very impressed by this movie, and I'm looking forward to talking about it. This is going to be shorter than the first one because the first one we talked about all about the characters, our thoughts on that, and our favorite parts of the movies and all that, and talked about the movie. This is going to be different because we talked about a lot of the characters already, and of course, if you want to mention a character that I don't bring up that's new that I forgot to bring up, please do so. But the one character that I think we should talk about is the sensei, the one that taught her the things that she knew. Well, what's your thoughts on the sensei? And if you know the name of the actor, please tell me because I I rushed home today, so I didn't have enough time to do any research.
Well, I'll vamp while I pull it up, but I loved the really this whole movie is broken up into segments. I have an absolute undisputed favorite, which is Elle and I, but we'll get to that if you would like to. I certainly would like to.
Of course.
But my other favorite segment was the stuff with Pai Wei, which let me find his name. It's on here somewhere. Come on, Letterbox, don't fail me now. But regardless, just the buildup of like her doing the 1-inch punches and like till the skin is falling off of her knuckles, literally, and like trying to hold the rice with the chopsticks, even though her hand is pretty much broken. And like just that whole montage, I just thought was great. And then just not capping it off, but starting it off with the whole sword fight at the beginning where Pai Wei's dodging all of it, but she's really good too. It just that could have been a whole movie in and of itself, but Tarantino was so efficient with it that he pretty much compressed a whole samurai movie into like a 20 to 25 minute segment almost. And the actor's name is Gordon Liu Chia-hui. I probably butchered that and I'm sorry, but that's what the Letterboxd says.
Okay. It's okay. I don't think anyone here could be offended. But yeah, I love the character. I think he's awesome because like I love I like I said, if I remember correctly, I remember it was switched back and forth between the training and her punching. Like I just think that's so badass. I just love that. I love when they do that. I'm a sucker when they do that, where it goes from training to them doing it to training to doing it. I always love that. I don't know why, but I just always thought that was really cool. And I think he played the role really well. I think how they interacted was really good. Yeah, I really like the character. I wish he was in the first movie. I really did. It's a shame that we never got to see him in the first movie.
That's kind of what I was
And
thinking. I was thinking the entire time. I'm not sure why it was split into two. Like I said, I'm sure there's a reason, but I just can't think of it right now. I feel like if
well,
it were like superimposed into one, I feel like it would have flowed a little bit better if that makes any sense.
here's the thing, though. He did want it to make it one movie, but he felt like it would have taken too long, so he decided to just make it into two. That was his idea. So that's
Okay,
the
that
only
makes
reason. There's a guy on YouTube that I used to watch as a kid called the Angry Video Game Nerd, and
Oh
he
yeah.
he, he does real videos though. Besides that, and he made a he of course he didn't show it because copyright and all that, but he described the way he revamped, like he edited the first and second one together, and the way he described the movie, I loved it. I thought it was really really cool. I'll send you a link of that, or if you want to watch it together after this, I would love to, because I forgot how he described it, but the way he described it, I'm like, this would be like my favorite Tarantino movie if it was the way the guy described it. I'm like, it's a shame that it never happened, but it is what it is. But yeah, it's like I said, he's a great character. Um, is there any other characters in this movie you want to talk about? Because we already talked about all the characters in the first one.
I don't know if we talked a ton about Elle, or else we did, then we might have just not brushed over her, but like not talked about her as much. But like I said, the Elle and I segment I thought was just incredible. It was just, and there was a little bit like leading up to it with the burial and all of that, and her punching her way out of the coffin, which I mean, just it's impractical, but it is awesome, and I love it. I don't know if Nick, if you've ever heard of the TV show Mythbusters,
I
but
have, I have.
they actually tested the myth of punching your way out of a coffin. It's complete nonsense. Like you can't actually do it, which is a bit of a shame. But
Oh,
but in the
sucks.
context of the movie, I thought it was incredible. The whole thing with Michael Madsen in there, and then that, and then leading up to it with the Black Mamba scene, which I thought was great. shout out to Daryl Hannah. I thought she just did a great job as Elle. And then the whole sword fight, well, starts out as a regular fight and then it transitions into swords. And just shout out to that whole fight. It was just, it was so much fun to watch. And you can just tell that Tarantino built an entire set and they just had like they just busted through everything in that trailer. Like just like tables, chairs, a guitar gets used at one point. I loved that. There's one point in the fight in which Elle is being drowned in a toilet by the bride, and Elle flushes the toilet, and I'm just like, wait, why would you give yourself a swirly? And then I'm like, oh, so the water goes down and she stops from drowning. That's 1,000 level IQ stuff right there. And then there's the little interlude in where Elle is like, I killed Pai Mei. I called him a miserable old fool. And then that whole thing, the coup de grace, the reason why I put it in the lower third, the coup de grace is when the bride plucks out Elle's other eye and she's just writhing in the bathroom.
Oh,
And then
I love that. That was
and then she
awesome.
walks out and then crushes the eyeball underfoot. This movie does revenge well. Like it's like that in the John Wick movies. Like that in the John Wick movies, they do revenge well. Like if you hate a character, just give it time. They're gonna get what's coming to them, and they do, and it is glorious.
Oh, I certainly agree. That was great. Yeah, this is
shame that we didn't get more of Michael Madsen. I'm quite fond of him. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
oh, you're good.
his role in this one is more limited than most normal Tarantino ones, and it's a bit of a shame because I mean, like he's Bill's brother. You would think they would do a little bit more with that.
I agree. I certainly agree, and I didn't have really much thoughts of him in the first movie. I don't have much thoughts of him in this movie. I mean, the character is good. I like him, but I wouldn't like be like, oh my gosh, this is like one of the best characters in the movie. But yeah, all of that, all we described to be is the second best part of all two of these movies. I'm still biased. I still think the best moment out of all two of these movies is the one with the where we're with the swords and how the squirty blood on the first movie. That to me is the best part. That whole sequence in the first movie to me is like the to be the height of the first two movies. But to me, I think the high moments on this movie are a lot higher than, and I wouldn't say higher, but I say there's a lot more high moments on this movie, if that makes any sense. But like, I think the highest of the highs on the last movie was better, but I just think this movie is more consistent. It's to me, it keeps my attention more, even though I think the second one is longer than the first one, which is ironic. Another again, like I said, I love that scene where I know it's fake. But I love that. I love when she punches through it. I wish that was true. I'm disappointed now that I found out it's now false.
Yeah, it disappointed me too because I had never seen this movie up to this point, but I'm a Mythbusters super fan, and so they do a lot of movie myths on that one. Like, can you actually blow up an apartment complex by sticking a newspaper in a toaster? You can't. Like that, and like unleashing the gas, you can't do that. So like they did a lot of movie myths, and one of them was the Kill Bill coffin punch thing, which sadly that was not true. I was pulling for that one. But this movie is just it's told out of order. I mean, it's true for both 1 and 2. It's told out of order, which is pretty much a Tarantino trademark, pretty much being told out of order, more or less. But where it starts out, where you see the bride being the bride and the whole wedding, and then you actually see the titular incident as to why this all went down. From that point on, it's like that's all the context you need. Everything else was in volume 1. Now it's just the rest of the story and we don't waste any time like reminiscing. I mean, technically the Pie Way stuff is reminiscing, but it's necessary context to see how she became the badass that she became. So there's really a no filler kind of thing going on here because it's like, yeah, if you want more information, watch part one. It's right there. So the movie doesn't waste too much time. And the movie, for being 2 hours and 15, 16 minutes long, it flies by. I wasn't even like, how long are we? No, like it was just full speed ahead.
Yeah, for sure. One of the things I love in the movie was when she finally meets up with Bill again, and when she hugs the little girl and she just gives him that dirty look. I love that. It's like I'm about to fucking kill you, right? It's kind of like that look. It's like the you're fucking dead. It's like
It's
I don't
not a
I don't
matter of if, it's a matter of when, Bill.
exactly, and that's what I love about it. It's like if someone gave me that look, I'd be like, oh no, I fucked up. I messed up. I have done messed up. But yeah, to me, I always love that part. And I know there's a part in the movie where he has that like stick, if I'm correct. I have a terrible memory. But I remember he was talking to her. Forgetting what they were talking about, but
Well,
I,
it basically why he did what he did, and it kind again going back to John Wick on my part, it kind of reminded me of how in the first John Wick movie, how John Wick got out of the business. He did the impossible task, which is like he basically killed a bunch of people in one night, and it's understood that it was like no man can do this, and then sure enough, he did it. And I'm like, yeah, you can walk. We got no problem with you. So basically the bride did a whole bunch of impossible tasks for Bill, and so she was his right hand, and then she got pregnant, and then she was like, this is just not for me anymore. And instead of just being like being civil and just like understanding her wishes, like it was just like in his words he overreacted, which I mean, like that's certainly one way of putting it. Like shooting up a church on a wedding rehearsal, that's certainly a way to go about it. But he weirdly like tries to justify it, and it's like you're almost like, is he sounding somewhat rational? And he's not. Like he's very much out of his mind, but in his own mind, what he thinks,
yeah,
like he believes his own nonsense, and so that's what makes him really evil for me. It's
mhm,
like, and I also love how the final battle is not this drawn out thing too. It's like it's over in like a couple minutes,
yeah,
and like she does the palm exploding heart technique, and then that's it. Like it's all explained, it's all like laid out, and be like, this is why I did it, and there it is. Like there's a straightforwardness to it that I appreciated.
yeah. Exactly. I actually that's perfect. Yeah, it just goes to show, in the first movie, it's like you didn't really get to know Bill that much. You just know that she had to kill him pretty much. What makes this movie, in my opinion, the better one, pretty much agreeing with Ryan, is that they show more of Bill. I mean, I don't even think they show his face really in the first one. Like they don't really
He's
show his
just
face.
a he's just a voice on the phone.
Yes. Second movie, you see him and you get to know him more. And to me, I just think that's genius that they made you wait to know Bill more. That's like the one I'd say good thing about the different why it's split into two movies. To me, that's like the only good thing about it. That's about it really. But I certainly think that his character was definitely shown more, and I love that. I love how they show how evil he was. And of course, you mentioned that action scene with her and Elle, and I mean, the I want her dead, but the moment they showed him her killing the sensei, like she murdered the sensei. I'm like, yeah, this woman has to die. I'm like I'm like, how dare you? That to me, that's just like a character that I started to grow fond of, and then they show her killing him. To me, that's just even more motivation of why she had to die. And well, I would say die, but well, she did die, but that scene with her ripping the eye out and stomping on it, to me, that just was a little extra sweet after what happened.
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to bring up, and it's now left me, but I had a thought, and the thought just left me. If it that there it is. Daryl Hannah, she's actually in one of my favorite comedies of all time. It's a movie called Grumpy Old Men. It starred Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau about two old men fighting over a woman, and it's a lot funnier than I just described it. It's Jack Lemmon, Walter Matthau, and those two were just amazing with each other. And Daryl Hannah played Jack Lemmon's character's daughter, and so that's how I always knew her. I had no idea that she was actually Elle in this, and she's just like completely different here. So the point I'm trying to get at is that she just was awesome.
Yeah, great actor. Uh, the person who played her. You have any other more scenes you want to go over? I'm drawing a blank at the moment.
No, I think we've covered just about everything. Like I said, I get why it was cut into two because of like time and all of that, but I need to get my hands on like a physical copy of the whole bloody affair because I feel like and I don't want to say like Pulp Fiction, like, but in like time accurate sense,
Yeah,
like that could be interesting. Like I'm not saying something like that, but I'm just saying like if it was somehow phantom edited together, I feel
yeah,
like that would have been that'd be fun to see at least once.
yeah. Well, since we're pretty much done reviewing the movie, what's the score you're gonna give it?
Out of 5, it's getting a big old 5. I loved this thing, and I'm sad that it took me this long to finally watch it, but I have watched it and I loved it.
Hey, better
And I
late than never.
will I will say this, I get why Pulp Fiction is beloved, and I love Pulp Fiction. I love Jackie Brown. I like Reservoir Dogs fine enough. I feel like that one hasn't aged tremendously well, but that can be a whole nother discussion for a whole nother time. But I feel like Kill Bill is in a weird roundabout way Tarantino's most mature film, if that makes any sense at all.
That makes
I
sense.
feel,
That makes sense.
I feel like it has enough of him to where you go, oh, it's clearly Tarantino, but it's not like Django where there's a whole and I love Django Unchained. I don't want to bury Django Unchained. I love that movie, but there's no scene where like Django just like goes on a complete rampage. Like there's not a scene like say in Hateful Eight where everyone just gets like completely toasted and then Channing Tatum shows up. Like there's nothing like that here. I feel like this was like the natural conclusion to like the end of the early era of Tarantino, where it started out in 94 or 95 with or no wait 92 with Reservoir Dogs, excuse me, and then it ends here in 2004 with Kill Bill Volume 2. So I feel like the first decade of Tarantino ends with Kill Bill, and then from then on it's a completely different era. But I feel like it's a slow ascent from like start off good and then Kill Bill is like the natural like the stopping point of this is a dude in his prime right here. He is locked in. And like I said, love Django, I love Hateful Eight, and I love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but I feel like that's a completely different Tarantino. We're talking about early prime Tarantino. This is the top of the mountain right here. And I know I was long-winded on that, but I took the ball and I ran with it.
Hey, I love it. I love it though. Uh, and yeah, and you're when we do the Tarantino movie ranking, I would love for you to kind of say kind of what you just said here. If this is your absolute favorite Tarantino movie, for me personally, I love this movie. Don't get me wrong, but I am giving it a 4.5 stars. It's not one of it's not my genre of movie. If I it's not his fault. It's just um it's not my type of movie, but it's such a the way he made it work so well that I had to give it at least a 4.5 stars. Um, if we were to review this movie before me watching it, I was originally gonna give it 2 stars. So from 2 stars to 4.5, I feel like that's a pretty big upgrade. So just goes to show how great his movies are. Well, next time we'll be covering Death Proof. So after I'd say this is like his most grand movies, volume 1 and 2. We're gonna go to like one of I'd say his most cheapest movies. It's like it's hard to describe that movie, but we'll talk about it when we talk about it. But
It feels
I'm
like
sure,
his ode to the drive-in, like the Roger Corman like kind of movie right here.
yeah. And well, I am curious what Ryan has to say about the movie because this is notoriously known as his worst movie. You'll see how I think about it. You'll see how Ryan feels about it. But until next time, um, thank you for watching. And Ryan, you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, give this guy a subscribe. He deserves it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Of course, Ryan's channel. It's in the white text right there at Ryan Cam 20. Check out his channel. He is a huge movie fanatic. If you're subscribed to my channel just for movies, you're at the wrong channel. Check out Ryan's channel. He is the movie guy. I'm more of a music guy personally, but I've been trying to branch out more into my channel. But again, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time. So long.